بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على رسوله الكريم وآله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق والخاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق الهادي إلى طريقك المستقيم وعلى آله حق قدره ومقداره العظيم. أيها المختار من خير الوراء خلقا وخلقا في الكمال توحدا. ماذا أقول لحقي والله تعالى جعله نبيا ورسولا. اللهم صل عليه في الأولين، اللهم صل عليه في الآخرين، اللهم صل عليه في الملأ الأعلى إلى يوم الدين. يقول الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه الكريم: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. لقد من الله على المؤمنين إذ بعث فيهم رسولا. وقال سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه الكريم: يا أيها النبي إنا أرسلناك شاهدا ومبشرا ونذيرا وداعيا إلى الله بإذنه وسراجا منيرا. I am very pleased and happy to be here with you tonight here to share this beautiful Mawlid gathering with our Sheikh Al-Ubaydi, who we owe him in terms of knowledge and we owe him in terms of fadl. May Allah increase his fadl and his presence. May he keep his presence within us here in Arizona. I say in Arizona because he's present in Phoenix as well, not just here in Tucson. He is often present in Phoenix as well. May Allah keep him for a long time in our midst and bless him and his family as well for all of his beautiful contribution that he has put throughout the years everywhere. Allah I am very honored to be sharing with you today a few words in regards to the gathering that we're gathered for, the Mawlid-An Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. First and foremost, it is لَقَدْ مَنَّ اللَّهُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not just blessed but has favored the mu'mineen, the believers, by sending us, or by sending to the believers the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So it is, number one, it is a favor upon us. Why is it a favor upon us? Because he has sent to us the best of the humankind that the world has ever seen. And the most important thing, which is about Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, is that he was the Habib of Allah. He was the Habib of Allah. Many Anbiyas were Rusul, they had their particular names. Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam, he was created by the hand of Allah. Sayyidina Ibrahim was Khalilullah. Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam was Kalimullah. Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam was Kalimatullah wa Ruhun minhu. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was Habibullah. Habib, to be the loving one of Allah. To be the loving one, it means that it surpasses all of these other qualities. It goes beyond all of these qualities. Because the essence of even deen is love. Al-Mahabba, the love is the essence of our deen. Now, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was sitting with close to the companions, but he was hearing them talk about all of these qualities of the prophets before him. The Sahabas that were talking about how Adam was created with the hand of God, by the hand of God, and how these other prophets, Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam was Kalimullah, and Sayyidina Isa Kalimatullah wa Ruhun minhu. Kalimatullah wa Ruhun minhu. And then he told them that وَأَنَا حَبِيبُ اللَّهِ وَلَا فَخْرٍ, he said. And I am the beloved of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without boasting about it. In other words, without trying to show off, but this is the reality. So right here it shows that we are following not just the Nabi, Not just a prophet, but we're following the best. خَيْرِ خَلْقِ اللَّهِ. That's why we say that he is the best of all the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, we see when we reflect on his seerah, when we reflect on his personality, we see that the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was perfect insan kamil, perfect in all different aspects. He was not only good at leading the people in prayer and having a beautiful voice, and then when he would leave the masjid, he would be just like anybody else. Right? He was not somebody who was sitting in a gathering and nobody would dare to speak except him. Absolutely not. He listened to the others. He laughed with the others. He smiled with the others and laughed with the others. He was a perfect role example in his family, with his wives, with his children. And I don't need to go into so many details. The first place where he would visit would be the house of his own daughter, Sayyidatuna Fatima radiallahu anha, and also the masjid. These would be the first places that he would go into. And then the way how he was with the companions, they talk about him that they were listening to him out of love, out of respect, as the tuyur, as the birds. This is Shama'il al-Tirmidhi, rahimahullah ta'ala. As the birds, they would be sitting on their heads, like attentive, not just listening, but attentive, not letting a word to escape. And they would follow him in the best possible way. So now let me tell you this. There is no human in the world. Are you with me? Yes? You're with me, right? Okay. There is no human in the world, that has been described in such details, تفاصيل عن شخصيته وعن حياته وعن شمائله. There is no human on earth that was described in such details about his personality, about his character, about his relation with the others, and about what he liked, about what he didn't like, and be followed even to the slightest things. Like, for example, Sayyidina Anas bin Malik in Shama'il al-Tirmidhi, he says that when I realized that the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam loved to eat squash, that was one of his favorites, that became my favorite type of food as well in eating. It's not a big thing, right, eating squash. What's a big deal about it? But the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam liked it. So this became my liking as well. He would walk in a certain way. They would walk in the same way. He would be carrying the miswak, and they would be using the miswak. Right? I mean, he would be carrying a staff. Right? A staff. And they would be carrying a staff, our shuyukhs. They would always carry that, as a sunnah of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And I know that here, if we go out with a staff, it may seem as something kind of strange, especially for the young ones. But in places where Islam is established, you can still see people, walking with that, not because they need it, but because they're following the sunnah of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. There is no man on earth. So for a man to be followed so strictly, for a man to be, to have so many books about him and the shama'il, and it has to be something miraculous. That means that this man has touched the hearts of millions of people in such a way that they're following him step by step in everything that he has said and has done and liked and disliked. So now, as we're speaking about Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, we're saying that he was insanun kamil. قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِ يُحْبِبْكُمُ اللَّهُ. Say, O Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, if you love Allah, if you love God, then follow me and God will love you. In other words, how do we achieve the love of God? We achieve the love of God by following His tradition. Because His tradition is the best tradition that is out there. The one who follows it has attained success, has attained salvation. And the one who does not follow it, unfortunately, will not be on the right path. will not be guided. عليكم بسنتي, he says. You have to follow my sunnah. And also the sunnah of the khulafa, al-rashideen, al-mahdiyeen. Those who also guided the humanity and told them how to establish the sunnah of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in their daily lives as well. And they protected the sunnah of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I heard our Sheikh Wafiq earlier, Allah Fadlu, talking about the importance of Mawlid. And mashallah, he went into so many details, so many adillas, arguments that are very clear and important for people to understand. And he even went through the usul al-fiqh to give us an understanding from the law perspective, from the foundations of the Islamic law, which is something really huge. People who know, they appreciate that a lot. I want to add, with, in respect to whatever our Sheikh was mentioning, one thing very quick as well, in regards to the Mawlid and the importance of gatherings like this. There is a hadith that comes to us in the book of Imam An-Nasa'i. And I believe also other narrators narrated in similar ways. Not I believe, but there are other riwayats, there are other narrations in different, Imam Tirmidhi as well mentions it in a different riwayat. But this one that I'm about to mention is in the Musnad al-Jami' al-Sahih of Imam An-Nasa'i. Musnad al-Sahih of Imam An-Nasa'i. What does he say? He narrates this hadith that is considered to be sahih by even those who may oppose gatherings of Mawlid. As a matter of fact, if you tell them that we're gathering for a Sirah conference, they're okay with that. No problem. The moment you mention Mawlid, the word Mawlid, it becomes a big problem. So they're stuck with the word itself. The moment you say, brothers and sisters, we're gathering for a Sirah conference where we're going to read Quran, we're going to be talking about the life of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, we're going to do salawat, mashallah, no problem. But the moment you bring the Mawlid, we got a problem. The word itself. And when you get stuck with words, we got a bigger issue there. There are other major issues. Let's leave it aside. But I'm saying that this hadith is even considered to be sahih by those who may oppose gatherings of Mawlid. And I'm talking about their scholars, like Nasruddin al-Bani and many others. They say, the hadith says, this is the text of the hadith. The Sahabas radiallahu anhum were sitting and they were praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In another narration, they were thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Follow me on this one, please. They were thanking Allah. In another narration, they were mentioning Allah. And then the narration goes on that the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam came there and he said, what are you doing? They said, Ya Rasulullah, they said, we are remembering Allah, we are thanking Allah, and at the same time we are praising Him for sending you to us. What does that mean? In other words, we're doing dhikr of Allah, but at the same time we're gathered here to thank Him for you. Aren't these the right? Is this the right understanding, or did I get it wrong? The words that I just mentioned, like, we have gathered here to thank Allah, but at the same time for you. Like, praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for sending you to us. What are we doing in the Mawlid gatherings? This is all what we're doing, what the Sahabas did. And then you know what Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said? He said, is that true? Allah, he even said, is it true for God's sake? They said, Wallahi, they said, this is what we're gathered here for. In other words, we have no other intention here. This is the only purpose why we came, why we're gathered, and we're having this circle here. He said, it is not that I doubt you. In other words, I trust you and I know. But I wanted to make sure that this is the case. Otherwise, he said, the angel came to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam telling him that Allahu yubahi bikum inda al-malaika. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He feels proud of you in front of His angels for what you're doing. And this is where the hadith ends. And as I said, this is an authentic hadith. So gatherings that remind us who we are following, gatherings that remind us about the personality of this greatest man that the world has ever seen, are blessed gatherings. Are gatherings where the light is being spread in our hearts and our minds as well, and it is reflected in our characters. Dear brothers and sisters, there is a philosopher called Michael Hart, who wrote a book, and he put all the personalities, the most important personalities in the world, 100 most important personalities. And he was not a Muslim. But do you know who he put first as a first personality, the most important personality, who actually impacted the world the most? I repeat it again. Number one personality in the world, according to this philosopher Michael Hart, that impacted the world more than anybody else, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was not even a Muslim. And he said, if Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam would have been alive, he would have chosen so many issues that we have nowadays in the world in a time when we drink a cup of coffee or a cup of tea. It is not Muslims talking about him. Non-Muslims speak of him very highly. Leave aside these who are trying to draw paintings of Prophet ﷺ and talking about, he was the one who wanted to fight, and he was the one. We all know those are lies. And we all know that these people, what they're trying to do is trying to stop the spread of this deen. That's what it is. They're trying to spread the stop of this deen. We know them. When I'm saying these words, I know exactly what I'm saying. I'm not exaggerating and I'm not making things up. There are organizations out there who work day and night in order to stop the spread of this deen, because the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam 1400 years ago, he said that this deen is going to reach in places where the day and the night reaches. 1400 years ago, it was in Arabian Peninsula, in Mecca and Medina. 1400 years later, we are right now here. We are the dalil of that. We are the proof of that right here. In Tucson, in Phoenix, everywhere. 100 years ago, there was no mosque, there was no masajid, no institutions, no Muslims around here. Look, within 100 years, we have hundreds of thousands. Over 100,000 here in Arizona. And how many millions of Muslims around America? Masajids popping up everywhere. We have a masjid in Hermosillo, past Nogales. You all know Nogales. It's only 45 minutes away. Go another 2 hours drive deeper in Mexico, the capital of Sonora. And I have here many brothers who are planning to go, inshallah, in 2 weeks. And we have brothers who have been there with me, together with our dear Sheikh right here, who has been with us many times, multiple times. And there are Muslims there. Muslims accepting Islam, Hispanics, Mexicans accepting Islam. Every single month, at least one you see. There are sometimes more, but approximately I'm kind of averaging out. At least once a month you have people converted to Islam. People that I haven't seen them before because I go often. I haven't seen them before. All of a sudden I go in the masjid and I see this guy calling Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. I'm like, who's this guy? Oh, he accepted Islam 3 months ago. And he's calling the azan in the masjid there. Like, subhanallah. The hadith of the Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, this deen is going to reach where the day reaches and the night reaches. We are the proof of that. We are part of that miracle of Muhammadiyya sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That mu'jiza. So, what I'm trying to say is, what we need to do, and I'm going to wrap it up with this one, I don't want to take much of your time, but what we need to do, brothers and sisters, is this. Now here's our job. Here's our mas'uliyah. It's not just, our focus here is not just to do nasheed and to do a beautiful speech and to recite Quran and to do, the typical things that we do in the Mawlid, which is amazing. And we need this, and we will always, inshallah, do it. But it doesn't stop here. This is the beginning. What the Sheikh is saying is an inspiration for you to take those words and apply them in your daily life. When you go to your wife, you have a good conversation with her. You behave with her the way how Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was with his wife. You know how he was with his wife? They said that he never even lifted his hand once. 1400 years ago. In our societies, nowadays talking about it's like kind of weird if the husband would not hit his wife or his children if they misbehave. True or not? I'm not exaggerating. A lot of people do it and it is acceptable. Where's the hadith of the Nabi alayhi salam? You want to follow? You want to take with you home what you are learning from a gathering like this? You have to be this way. Like, if you put it in practice, then you are actually carrying that Nur Muhammadiyah. You're carrying that light. That light is radiating. The Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is like a sun, right? Imagine the sun. What does the sun do to the moon? It shines the light. And what does moon do to the earth? It reflects. It reflects the light of the sun. You are that moon. The sun is Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. You are the moon who is reflecting that light. Where? In the way how I behave. First and foremost, in the way how I have my character and the standards that I have within my own character. What kind of a person I am from deep inside. Number two, how am I with my family? It's no good if you're good with the brothers in the masjid, but you're like a tyrant, or like a lion, or like a wolf in your house. That doesn't make sense. You should have brothers in the masjid say like, MashaAllah, what an amazing person this is. And you should have your wife to say that, MashaAllah, what a great husband this is. Or you should have your kids say that, MashaAllah, what a great dad he is. Or what a great mom she is. Sorry, sisters, I'm picking up more on brothers because I don't see you, so. So anyways, what I'm trying to say is we need to make sure that we have a balanced personality, an active personality with the people outside in order to reflect that light that is being transmitted through gatherings like this one, or through the Jum'ah prayer, or through a beautiful lecture, or through a heart-touching nasheed, let's say, or through reading a book about Nabi alayhi salatu, or through reading the Quran, whatever the case may be. We need to put that. And I'm not saying it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that in the Quran. He says, وَقُلْ يَعْمَلُوا فَسَيَرَى اللَّهُ عَمَلَكُمْ. And say, do work. Like commit to performing good deeds, because you will see Allah who will witness that. And the Rasul will witness that. And also the believers will witness those good deeds that you're doing. And I think in our ummah what's happening right now is that first and foremost, we have a lot of people who are not connected to the masajids. We have a lot of people who are not praying. We have a lot of people who do not even understand their own deen, the principles of their own deen. We have a lot of people who do not even know the life of Sayyidina Muhammad ﷺ. How do you expect you to love the Prophet ﷺ and you have no clue about who he was? Except that he was born in Mecca, he migrated to Medina, he died in Medina, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, khalas, end of the story. No, he came for you. He came for you. Because he said that I miss my brothers, he says. He says, I miss you. He's talking about you. I missed you, he says. Because Sahabas, they told him, wait, Ya Rasulullah, aren't we your brothers? Like, we're right here in front of you. Aren't we your brothers? He says, no, he says. Antum ashabi, he says. You're my companions. You're my friends. My brothers, he says, will be those who will come after me. They will believe in me without even seeing me. And that's what we do, right? So do we really qualify to be his brothers? Are we following what he has inherited to us? His tradition, his values? Or are we just, again, when we don't know about who he is, what happens? We cannot love him. But we need to love him. Because when you know about his personality in details, his life in details, you will have no other option but to love the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So, going back to the ayah of the Quran where it says, قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهِ فَاتَّبِعُونِ يُحْبِبْكُمُ اللَّهِ. Follow me, he says, because Allah will love you. So in other words, again, in order to achieve the love of God, which is the most important thing, that's what we're trying to do in this world, right? We're not sent in this world to have a plate of biryani rice and a plate of, I don't know, Kabuli rice or pilau or whatever they call it, you know, and to work and to go to sleep and just to have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. No. We are sent with higher objectives in this world. We should be leaders for righteousness. The Quran defines us as al-a'imma yahdun. They are leaders who guide the others on the right path. Well, alhamdulillah, we have the Imam, right? We have the Sheikh and we have that Sheikh. No. The Quran talks about every single one of you. We're leaders for lectures and leaders in prayer and leaders in the masjid and so on. Institutions, good. We're doing our part. But you have to do your part as well. You have to be a good leader in your family. A good leader in the place where you go and work. You have to be the best example for those who are not Muslims. So that light, as we're talking about, that radiating light can go to these people who have never seen the light before. Who have never seen that light before. This is our aim. Otherwise, wallahi al-azim, in the day of judgment, I think we're going to have a big responsibility, especially us as Muslims living in the Western world. Why did you go there? Why did you go to Tucson? You know, I went to Tucson, I tried to work and I tried to, you know, I went there for education. I went there because I got married and this and that. And do you have a house? Oh yeah, mashallah, I had a beautiful house. Did you have a car? Yeah, I had an amazing car. Did you go to school? Oh yeah, I had an opportunity to even get a PhD. To get a bachelor's degree and get a master's degree and get this and get that and sometimes make money. And if I didn't have the bachelor's degree or those other degrees, I had a business and I did good. What did you do for me? What did you do for dawah? Well, I love the dawah to Sheikh Walid and Imam Didmar and a few others. They do the dawah. I mean, it's not my responsibility. Inna Allah amara al-mu'minina bima amara bihi al-mursaleen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded the believers with whatever He commanded the messengers. Here's the answer. You don't like it, you like it, this is the answer from the Quran. Allah commanded the believers with whatever He has commanded the messengers. This is the way how it is. Whether we like it or don't. So, and then, if we want to really be in those footsteps of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, we have to pay attention in making sure, as I said, that we are becoming not lions in the masjid, not people with shuja', with that pride in the masjid, but to be lions out there as well. To be patient when there is a need to be patient. To be courageous to say the haqq, the way how it is when it is necessary, with hikmah, with wisdom. And not just to scream and just to talk and sometimes be irrelevant, but talk when it is necessary to talk with hikmah, with knowledge. And the best way that we can do it is through becoming role models. These Sahabas of Nabi alayhi salam 1400 years ago, how did they spread Islam in India? How did they spread Islam in Malaysia, in Indonesia, in the country where I'm from, in Albania? How did they spread Islam? They didn't spread Islam, you know, by just going to these countries and saying like, hey, listen to me, I came here because I need money. Oh, you need money? Okay, we'll give you some money and okay, just work for us and do these things. They didn't come in these, otherwise they would not be able to even spread deen at all. They had higher objectives. 1400 years ago, 1000 years ago, 500 years ago, whatever the case may be, they came for higher objectives. أهداف كبيرة كان عندهم أهداف كبيرة. And it was not only to eat a plate of rice, or just to make sure that I'm getting some money in here. Alhamdulillah, I'm good, I have a house. No. They had higher objectives. Well, sometimes I cannot do it. Help the masjid. help the sheikh, help the school, help the institute. Try to make sure that those who are doing it, they have the support. You cannot do it, no problem. The only thing you know how to do is work, support them. They have a lot of need. Masjid has a lot of need. The school has a lot of need. Institutions, organizations, Islamic organizations, they have a lot of need. Let's be aware. Otherwise, wallahi, like I said, وَسَوْفَ تُسْأَلُونَ, we will be responsible, we will be asked. Like I have given you all of this, 1, 2, 3, 4, you had a car, you had this. You go back in Somalia, you go back in Iraq, you go back in Albania, you go back in so many other countries that they don't have these luxuries that we have here. You know, how are we going to answer? I have given you all of this, you had all of this. What did you do about spreading the kalimatullah, the word of God? The Risala Muhammadiyya, what did you do in order to spread that? What did you do to support it at least? So these are very important questions that as we come to gatherings like this, as we come to the masjid generally speaking, as we gather with other Muslims, we are reminded that our job to be Muslims is full-time, not only in the masjid but outside as well. And let's make an intention, inshallah, tonight. We make an intention to be people who are going to be like the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. How is the Nabi alayhi sallam? The Quran says, Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu inna arsalnaka shahida. Shahida, witness. Wait, what are you talking about? How can we be, what does that mean to be witness? You witness God to others who do not know about God. Alright? You witness God to them through yourself, through your character. You know, sometimes we say like, you see a person, you see a sheikh, MashaAllah, man, this person reminds me of Allah. Right away I see him. He reminds me of Allah. He connects me with Allah right away, like I'm reminded about Deen. The same way. We are witnesses to this country, to these people that we're in, to witness God to them through us. That's what it means. And Nabi ﷺ was a shahid for us. And we are also shuhud for these people as well. Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu inna arsalnaka shahidan wa mubashiran. Somebody who gives glad tidings. In other words, looks at Islam, the risala of Islam, as a risala of love, not as a risala of fear, not as a risala of pushing people, not as a risala of haram police, as they say, haram this, haram that, bid'ah this, bid'ah dalal, jahannam. No. The Quran too starts with Bashira. It doesn't start with Nadhira, but Bashira. There is a manhaj ilahi. There is a syllabus, a curriculum that the Quran contains. There's a reason why it starts with Bashira, somebody who gives glad tidings to the others. And what else? Nadhira, a warner. Wait, I love you. And I want you to follow this right path, this hidayah. But I'm sorry, if you're not going to, if you understand this and you choose to do evil, there are going to be consequences in the hereafter for that evil. It's not as easy. Because we have a purpose why we're created. We have to fulfill that purpose in life. وَدَاعِيًا إِلَى اللَّهِ بِإِذْنِهِ وَسِرَاجًا مُنِيرًا. And he is also, the Prophet was da'i. What is a da'i? A caller. Somebody who calls the others. A caller to what? A caller to your business? A caller to your business? A caller to your cause? A caller to your interest? No. Da'iyan ila Allah. So when we are calling people, when we are exemplifying ourselves, when we are emulating the Prophet ﷺ, and these other people are seeing that through our characters, then what happens? We are calling them to Allah through that. Not to Didmar as a person. Not for my own personal interest so my pocket can be full. Not for my organization so he can benefit and all that. But so we can connect them to their Creator. وَدَاعِيًا إِلَى اللَّهِ بِإِذْنِهِ وَسِرَاجًا مُنِيرًا. And we talked about Siraj Munira earlier. How we reflect that light. Like a reflecting a shining lamp that radiates what? Radiates light. To whom? To everybody. To everybody. Even animals, even children, everybody, all categories. everything that is wrong with you. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. We have sent you as a mercy for all the worlds. Not just the worlds of the brothers right here sitting today here, but لِلْعَالَمِينَ, for everything. And that's why Rasulullah, even for animals, he talked about this woman who gave to drink, or the man in another narration who gave to drink to the dog or to a cat, whatever narration you want to pick. Enter Jannah because of that. So there's a shafaqa for the animal, mercy, rahmah for the animal. That's why he wasn't rahmah lil alameen, for the little kids. And even for the tree, he was talking about the tree. If you plant a tree, even if you know that the day of judgment is coming and you plant that tree, you still do it. We're talking nowadays in the 21st century about ecosystem and so on and so forth. 1400 years ago, plant it, he says. Or he says, don't waste the water even if you're in front of the river, or in front of the lake, or in front of the sea. Preserve the water. And the list goes on and on. I don't want to take any more of your time. I'm sorry for taking more time than I intended to take, way less, but these are things that are coming out of my heart. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you. You have, I feel, I don't want to speak in front of the Sheikh to say this, but mashallah, wallahi, you're all blessed as a community to have a Sheikh. And the Sheikh definitely is also blessed to have supporters and good people like you to help him not just maintain this, but progress this place. Because we don't want to just have a masjid, but we want to do it better and better all the time. May Allah bless you all. Mawlid Mubarak in Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Wa jazakumullah khairan. Wa ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Subhanaka Allah wa bihamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Al-Asr. Inna al-insana lafi khusr. إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله وصحبه أجمعين.
جزاك الله خيرا يا Imam Mufti Didmar for هذه الكلمة القيمة. May Allah reward you, may Allah accept, may Allah put us together in the Jannah with حضرة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. Inshallah we'll pray Salat al-Isha, and after that, if you want to stay with us, we have, we'll show you the الشعر الشريفة بحضرة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. If you want to stay with us, we'll come. If you want go, also come. We have a lot of food. We have a lot of sweet, mashallah. جزاكم الله خير. And happy birthday of حضرة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم.